Hello guys, welcome back. Herb from Burnt Hill Machine. Today's project is going to be a mystery project. So I figured I'd do something where I'm going to use, I got a bucket full of these brass nuts and I need to make something out of brass, and I'm going to make a couple aubers and kind of wing this. This is kind of just how it feels and what I want it to look like. Okay, little project. This project's kind of dear to me because it's going to fix something that my father owned for many years, that was on a machine, and I'm going to use it on a different machine. And I could probably replace this pot for far less than it's gonna take me in time to actually fix this, but I want to do it, I want to fix it, and I want to use it. So stay with me and we'll go over to the lathe. It's going to be a lathe project. Shouldn't really take that long, but I do got to make a couple of aubers, small little aubers to threaded aubers to get this job done. It's kind of outside what I normally do. It's kind of small. I don't do a lot of tiny stuff, but so this is a little bit small for me. And I almost thought about breaking out the Logan lathe in the garage, but right now there's no light over it, so I'd have to rig up some kind of a light, and I'm just going to do it on the jet. Okay, so in a few seconds we'll be over at the lathe and we'll start this. Alright, we're over here at the lathe, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put this nut on this little auber, turn it on, and we're just going to turn it down to 5/8. Okay, so that's going to be the project right now. It doesn't have to be too tight, 'cause it's going to be spinning in that direction. Alright, that's good. And I'm going to have to use this bump knurler because a clamp knurler is just not going to get in there. Let's drop this down. That looks okay. piece we're making is only going to be 3/16 long. Give it a little bit more. See how that looks. That looks pretty good. I'm going to let that go with that. All right. Let's take a quick dimension and see what it is for size. Looks like 626, so it should go in that collet. I'm going to cut this off because we're going to be threading inside there, so I don't really have any other way to hold this once I'm done. So, all right, so I'm going to make an ornate what do you want to call it? Cut on here to, or should I say, ornate feature to kind of dress this up a little bit. And I'm going to mock it for length first because I kind of want to see what this is going to come out. So let me see, where's my cutoff tool? Take my cutoff tool and I'm just going to use it to make a mark. Make sure I'm not going to hit in here. Alright, so I'm going to come up against that and just touch it. It's just grabbing it. So I'm going to make this 3/16 long, plus the blade of my cutoff tool is 125, so I'm going to put a dial indicator on the ways, and I'm going to move that over about 312, 320, somewhere around there, because I am going to face off this other end once I get done with it. Alright, so let's back this off. Preload my indicator. Alright, so I'm going to move over about 320. 1, 2, 3, 20, give or take. Okay, now I'm just using this cutoff tool to make a mark, because I want a nice sharp mark. That's going to tell me where I'm going to face this off later. Plus it's going to give me an idea of how big this is going to be, so when I put that little feature on there. So as you can see, this isn't going to be very big. Alright. So I have this little radius cutter right here that I found in my toolbox. And I'm not looking for anything specific, so I don't know if you guys can, there it is. So I'm going to bring this, so it's about 300 thousandths in diameter. I just want to bring that over, and I want to give it a little cup, like a little radius cutout here, but I wasn't sure how far to go in here and make it look right without knowing, you know, being able to visually see how big this piece is going to be. I am probably going through a lot more trouble than what this pot is actually for. Alright, so I'm just going to come over in there. I'm going to leave it going slow. I'm going to leave it RPM low because I want to be able to go over and see exactly what I got. Pretty cool. I like that. Alright, so the next thing I need to do is I need to take this off. I need to put it in a 5/8 collet, and then we're going to drill and tap this 7/16 28. Yeah, real common. So I don't have a tap, so I'm going to single point it. Okay? Alright, I'll be back when I'm all set up with a collet. Alright, so we're set up in the 5/8 collet. And I'm just going to put a dial indicator on here to see how close it is. Just take a little, just no burr on here. And I'm not looking for anything perfect. For what this is, it could run out 20 thousandths and it really wouldn't make a difference. But let's see how close it is. It's in a collet. It probably is going to be pretty good. Oh, actually, that's better than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to have to tap it around a little bit. It's within about 3 or 4 thousandths. I'm okay with that. I really am. I am definitely okay with that. All right. Just wanted to make sure it wasn't in there wicked crooked. Alright, so I know what some of you guys are thinking. And you would be right. Why didn't I make a little auber that had a thread on it, 7/16 14, drill the hole first, thread it, put it on there, and then finish it up? And you would be right. That would actually be the best way to do this. That's a whole lot more work for what this is going to be. So I chose to do it this way just to see how it come out. Like I said, this was on the fly. I'm working on something, and I said, you know what, make a quick video. Let's see what happens. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to drill this, and I'm going to be gentle with it because it's not sitting in there all that much. I want to make sure it's nice and tight so it doesn't spin. I'm going to take my time with it, and I'm going to drill that out. So 7/16 28. Your tap drill size is around 400, so that's a wide drill. So we're gonna take the center out of the tailstock. Actually, I'll bring you back when I get that done. Alright, so we're back. So we got the chuck in the tailstock, put a drill in it, and again, once again, the best drills in the world, Cleveland twist drill. I'm going to go nice and slow with this. I do not want to push this in. Just a little bit more. I don't want this to spin either. I hate it when they spin, ruin my good drills. Alright, let's speed this up a little bit. Alright, let's try that. And the boiler comes on. Alright, I'll bring you back when I'm all set up with the threading tool. Okay, so what I did was I took the collet out with the piece in it, and it's in there pretty firm. Okay, like I said, it was a snug fit. So I need to be able to line up my threading tool, and I have no shaft over here to do it. So I got a few different sets of collets. So I got a 5/8 collets over here. I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to put a bar in here, and I'm going to line up on that to make sure that my threading tool is straight. All right, so when I get it all cleaned up, I'll be back. Some of that old Cosmoline can be a real pain in the butt to get off. All right, so the reason I'm doing this is we need to be able to line up the cutting tool square to this to the axis of the machine. And being that there's no stick out on that piece that I'm going to thread and it's internal, I got to find another way to do it. So by sticking a bar in here and then just bringing it down, and this has a little square on it, a little V-block. Let me bring you in tight. So what you want to do is you want to bring this in, and I'm working the camera here, everything's backwards. We want to line that up. And make sure that it's square to the bore. Everything's backwards. What a pain in the butt. Wow, I can't believe how close that is. Actually, it looks pretty good. What I usually try to do is just line it up on, look at each side. And it looks pretty good. See how even the line is along the side of that cutter. All right, so actually I'm really happy with that. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to switch over. We're going to put the piece back in, and we're going to touch off and cut some threads. Now the other thing I can't do, unless I actually cut a thread in here, is I can't check it to see if we're on the right number. But I'm pretty good that I'm pretty sure I can get it on the right number. It's going to cut the right thread that I'm looking for. So I'm not too concerned about that. If this was, you know, any pot that had any value at all, I mean, this is a very simple pot, I would make sure that I did a little light pass, checked thread pitch with my pitch gauges, and made sure I had what I wanted. On this one, I'm not going to be too concerned about that. All right, let me swap this over, put the collet in, and we'll get going. All right, I put a little bit of painter's tape on this bar so I know that I have plenty of travel through that nut. Now, normally what I would want to do is I would want to swing this to like 29.5 degrees over this way. And I've run into this problem before when I was making the spindle nuts for the carbide grinder. Because of the way this lathe is set up, the carriage does not go under the head, so I don't have a whole lot of room over here. So if I spin it when I'm working right up inside a collet, I don't have enough room to get into the border thread. So I'm going to do this by simply moving the cross slide. Okay, so this is a 28 pitch, and a 28 pitch is 26 thousandths on the side. It's double. It's going to be, I lost my mind there for a minute. So if we're 26 thousandths on the side, we're going to be about roughly 50. It's 26 on the compound, roughly about 48 around there on the cross slide on a double depth. So we're going to just do it off the cross side, and I'm going to mark this up with some marker. We're going to go in and take a scratch, and then we're going to take a pass. All right, where's my marker? All right, so I'll be able to see. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to test fit this to the component. As soon as I start to test fit this, you are going to know what this is for. Okay? All right, so we're going to put it down in low speed. Let's see. That's good. All right, let's come up and let's touch. See make sure everything's working first. All right, let's engage our half nut. Half nut's working. And I can engage this half nut on any whole number. I believe I can do it on every half too. I'm going to stick with the. I think I'm going to speed this up a little bit because this is pretty slow. Let me speed this up. Yeah, that's good. Okay. All right, let's come in and touch. My head's going to get in the way on this one. Come in and I'm going to put a chamfer on the end first. I'm going to have to put my optivisors on for this. jamper on that. Set my compound to zero. I mean I always say compound because I'm thinking threaded. I'm going to set my cross slide to 0. And I'm going to take a 5/1000ths cut. Wait for the number to come around. I just want to take a peek inside there, and you're not going to be able to see it. It looks good. That looks great. All right, let me go get the component. All right, so we're ready to test it when we get down. So I'm going to go about, I don't know, 25/1000ths. So that was 5. Take another 5. Start a little ways away in case I don't like the way the engagement feels. All right. It looks good. looks really good. Let me put the optivisors on, take a peek. Yeah, it's probably gonna have to go a little bit deeper, but all right, so let's take a peek at this. And what I'm making is a ring for a light fixture. Okay, let's see if it fits. Feels like it's starting. Yeah, it's starting, but it's going to have to go a little bit more, so we'll take another 5. Actually feels pretty good. Feels pretty good. All right, so what we're going to do now is we are going to face this off just a little bit before the knurl. Okay, but so far so good. All right, so let's take this out and let's put our facing tool on. We're gonna have to be gentle with this. It's trying to focus on the chips. There we go. You get a lot of chips down on the bottom. Sometimes it tries to focus on those. If this lathe was painted, and actually that area down there painted red would probably work fine. But you get so much better contrast with that towel. All right, let's face it off and we'll speed it up. And we'll all right, here we go. Right now is not to rip this thing out of the collar. I'm going to put my boring bar back in, and I'm going to put that little chamfer on there to clean up that end thread. Gotta put the optivisors on again. Boy, this thing just doesn't want to focus right now, does it? Alright. Alright, so that looks good. Alright, hopefully we're going to pull that thing out of here. It didn't screw up the knurl. And see what it looks like. I got to be careful with this piece right here. Because this light, and I'll show you when we get back to the bench, is an older light. And this is Bakelite. And if you've ever used any Bakelite, especially if it's been around a heat source, it gets very brittle. So let's loosen up the collet. And I'm just going to give a slight pull. Oh, came right out. And I'm going to tell you, it fits perfect. It's just snug, and it's coming up flush with the end of the screw. All right, let me clean it up and I'll see you over at the bench. Okay, so it's finished. We made the little nut, and as you can see right here, I'm glad I made that little step there. I left that right there. Oh, sorry, wrong side. Right over here. Try to hold it so you can see. And that was a last minute decision. I think it came out pretty good, but the nut came out nice. So this is the lamp that I've been working on. This lamp came off of a 1940s dovetail drill press. Okay, so the drill press was very worn out, and it was my father's. It was converted to do a couple of particular milling operations when he was doing gunsmithing. And the machine isn't worth anything, so I salvaged some parts off it, and one of the parts that I salvaged was this light. So I painted it all up, and the only thing it was missing was the little screw. So when I took it home, I realized, well, I realized the nut was missing. I have no idea what happened to it. I don't know what it looks like, so I said, no big deal, I'll go buy a nut. I looked around. I could buy one of these online. I had to buy 100 or 500 of them. What am I going to do with 500 of these things? So I said, you know what? I looked through the toolbox, my father's toolbox, and I found that little radius tool. I said, I'm going to make something with his tools that fix his light. And this is going to go on my carbide grinder that's over here. And I think it'd just be a nice thing to have, something of my father's. Okay. All right, so I wired it all up. I'll zoom you in, and we'll put this nut on. All right. Try and stay out of your way here. So you just push it up in here. There's a little burr in there. Oh, there it goes. All right, thanks for being here for the mystery project. Again, I didn't really have too much thought into what I was going to do. I didn't have a big major plan, kind of let it unfold. I knew what I wanted to do, had a kind of an idea. It just kind of went along with it as it went. And I wanted to use an old piece of, I have a whole bunch of those brass nuts, so I figured I'd use that. But hey, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe. We got a whole lot more stuff coming. All right, thanks a lot. You guys have a great week. Signing out.